Hi everyone, I am Denise and welcome to Working in Fashion. Today I have an amazing guest. She's Ellie. She's a 3D pattern maker on Upwork, helping small and mid-sized brands get to the market with less waste by implementing 3D samples. She achieved a Bachelor of Fine Art degree in Fashion Design and Merchandising in 2011, and her main focus is women wear and like to bring realism to 3D garments to true to life. In this episode, Ellie comes to tell us how she started to work in the fashion industry, how it is to be a pattern maker, and how she decided to specialize in CLO3D. Even she has a course of CLO3D, and you will find the link in the comments below. Even you have a discount of 50% of discounts with the code Denise15. Everything and all the information and even her Instagram and website you will find in the comments below of this podcast. I hope that you go and bring your coffee or a tea, and I hope that you enjoy this podcast because Ellie is like amazing 3D pattern maker. She come to tell us all her experience, and I think that she's very inspiring. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. Thank you. I am Argentinian living in the beautiful Vancouver, Canada. I have worked 8 years in the fashion industry as a digital pattern maker and fashion designer. Every week, I will bring an episode to share my experiences as a pattern maker, and I will have an amazing guest who will share their experiences. The purpose of this podcast is to inspire, learn, and show you the insight of the fashion industry. I am Denise Afonso, and you are listening to Working in Fashion. Welcome, Ellie. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, Denise. It's been so great to chat with you about pattern making and freelancing, and I'm so excited to be here. So thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you. I was like very exciting because how I talked with you before. You are a pattern maker, but right now I had a feeling that everyone we are talking about the 3D. How is this future of the 3D fashion? So I am very excited. I know that we can learn a lot about you, and at the same time we will talk about very special that you bring us. So Ellie, my first question is: how did you start to work in the fashion industry?
Okay, so let's start with I went to school for fashion design and merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first job out of college was actually not in fashion, but it was more entertainment. So I worked in a theme park in Orlando, Florida.
Ah.
So I worked at Universal Studios and I helped with costuming, and I kind of did a little bit of everything. Originally, I started with the events and special events, and then I kind of worked my way into where they do the fabrication, where they make the costumes, and it's actually like a sewing environment. And so, yeah, working with helping sew garments for venues, shows, really, really fun. And they have, like a warehouse with tons of fabric and stuff like that. So it's almost like a regular sewing workshop would be, except instead of manufacturing, they're making one-offs of everything, and they did do grading and stuff, but it's all manual pattern making at that time when I was
All
there.
in paper, yeah.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I just started doing patterns right before, basically almost when I left there. So I did do patterns while I was there, but not for very long. So I moved because my husband's military. So we moved to like Alabama, our first station, and I worked at this company there that was producing women's and girls' dresses for performance wear. So again, it was like entertainment kind of, but like this time it was manufacturing because we had the CAD software, we did pattern grading, we had, they would do the cut and sew process. They have a whole team of sewers, cutters. They had, a big Gerber cutting table. So that was
Wow.
like the whole, shebang. It was pretty much apparel manufacturing. But, I was very lucky because here, like in the United States, like there's not a lot of that still going on. So I was able to like actually have, my foot in the door and like work in house and see that process from start to finish. That was really fun. I worked kind of like side by side with a pattern maker who had a lot of years of pattern making experience. And I learned a ton from her. And we learned 3D CAD using OptiText. So I didn't even know at the time what OptiText was. So it was just like a huge like mind-blowing experience, because
Mhm.
that's when I like learned what 3D pattern making can do for you. When you see the 3D sample and then you see the, actual, the physical product, and you look at both and it's like, wow, like this is actually pretty good. Like you can see how it helps you make the pattern. And as a pattern maker, like it's so helpful because you catch your mistakes and like you definitely can work on it as you go. So that was fun. Like I can just go on forever talking about all the stuff we did, because it was just really cool to like create garments for that. We did a lot of like dresses with like sequins, and then some were more like, formal. So a lot of different types of garments, mostly
Oh,
women's and
so it
girls.
was not like one kind of specialist garment. It was like different, right?
It was mostly two different kinds of garments.
Mm.
So it would be like seasons that would go back and forth. So I think it was spring was the show, and then winter was like the evening wear kind of garments. I can't remember
Mm.
exactly when was what, but so we would do the show garments. It was like more short skirts with
Mm.
like cute sequins and ruffles and bright colors, and then the concert was like the more formal gowns, long dresses, lace, mostly black, and more sophisticated styles. That was mostly what we did. Sometimes we did some separates, like shrugs, maybe like a skirt that was like its own skirt. Mostly, although it was dresses. Sometimes
Mm.
we did tops, but yeah, I love doing dresses. It was so much fun. Actually, we had a quarter, or is it half scale or quarter scale, like the one you have behind you.
Oh yes, like we have one. Yes, I love
Yeah.
it.
So we
They
had
are
one
so
of those.
cute.
It was so much fun to like work on the miniature scale. So
Yeah.
very cool that you have that too.
Yes, so it was like a very an amazing experience, Ellie. And Ellie, I forgot to ask you, like, how did you find pattern making? Because I tell to everyone in my second episode that first I studied fashion design, and then I find the pattern making, and I was like too passionate that I was thinking, oh my gosh, I want to be pattern maker. It was in this factory that you realized that you want to be a pattern maker, or was before that?
Before. So when I was studying in school, I kind of always knew, like, I don't know, like I like fashion, but like I'm
Mhm.
not like a fashionista, like
Yeah.
that. It's not really my identity. I
Mhm.
like making clothes. I
Mhm.
like making costumes. I think it's really fun to build garments from scratch. So I was always drawn to the actual like construction part and the actual like draping and that sort of thing, like the pattern aspect. So ever since I actually went to school, I kind of figured out that's more what I gravitated towards, and I wasn't sure how I was gonna create a career from it, to be quite honest.
Mhm.
I thought maybe I would be a business owner, maybe I would have like a bridal, like a couture brand.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's what I was expecting I would do, but I turned out like not really pursuing that. I don't know why, but like I think that mostly I like more fun and like more like laid back fun garments that aren't so like serious. So I think I
Mhm.
like to gravitate more towards like cutesy like dresses and kind of clothing like that. So I think that worked out. But yeah, ultimately, pattern making was just, it kind of always pulled me. I don't know, like it just seemed like I like puzzles. So,
I
and
me
then with
too.
CAD, I like video games. And I always looked at CAD as like, oh, it's kind of like a video game.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, I have a feeling that all the pattern maker like we are like very technicals,
yeah.
right? Even when I see people walking, I am thinking like, how is a pattern? I love puzzles. I have a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So I understand you 100%. So Ellie, how was the experience to work in Optitex with with 3D? Because even like I use the software Optitex,
Okay.
but I never use it 3D. I don't know why. I think that anyone teach me. And did you use a lot in this factory? You always make the pattern and
Okay.
then you see the 3D?
Pretty much almost always we did a
Wow.
3D sample, unless it, I mean, it was really rare that we didn't. And the samples, they're not always beautiful samples fully rendered. Sometimes we just do it and see what it looks like and go, okay, that looks good. Let's send it
Mhm.
to the sample maker. So it was just a quick tool for us as pattern makers to make sure that we're on the right track, make sure nothing looks really
Mhm.
crazy. especially with garment lengths. It does help with fit too, especially larger sizes, because we would always create the sample on the base size. And
Yeah.
then once that gets confirmed, sometimes it did take 2 rounds of physical samples.
Yeah.
Once that gets confirmed, I was like mostly the pattern grader. That was mostly my role in that company. I would
Mm.
grade and then I would check like one of the big sizes and one of the small sizes. And then that's something that we always confirmed before cutting those samples too. So just like
Wow.
a lot of rounds of cut and sew. But yeah, it helped.
Yes, I think that I need to learn the 3D Optitex. But well, then I will ask you again. So after this factory, then you decide to be like a freelancer, or you're still working in the fashion industry? And then how was the transition?
So, after I had to move again because my husband's military, so we moved
Mm.
again, and this time we moved to California.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I wasn't close enough to LA, so I couldn't work in, the fashion industry there. It was just too far, and then plus traffic there is insane, so that
Yeah.
wasn't going to happen. So what happened was that company still wanted to work with me, so they kept me on board as a independent contractor, and I didn't really know what that meant or what that entailed and all that stuff. So it was kind of like a new venture for me. And I
Mm.
started to understand like what else that means. Like that means I can also freelance and
Yeah.
work for other brands as well. So I started learning how to do that. The main thing that helped me then was Upwork because I didn't know how to find clients.
Yeah.
So using Upwork, I was able to find clients and start working and figuring out how to continue offering my services and stuff. So, but yeah, eventually, like, COVID happened. Fast forward a little bit. I'm no longer working with that company in Alabama. So the thing was that they were allowing me to use their software. And since I was no longer working with them, I had to find something that was affordable as a freelancer. And that's when CLO3D was, that's when I found Clo basically. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, I can afford this software and I can still work in 3D and use that with my clients. So,
Okay, it's amazing to know like all your transition, right? Like
yeah.
even before you start to use 3D, but well, now you're an expert about that. So great. And Ellie, you still using like Optitex, or now you only use like Glow 3D?
Well, I don't use OptiText anymore, but
Mm-hmm.
I use Clo3D plus StyleCAD because I really love their grading software.
Wow.
So StyleCAD is another CAD software. It's pretty powerful software, but they don't have 3D aspect. I just love
Mhm.
that I'm able to use my digitizer with StyleCAD, and I don't have the ability to use my digitizer with Clo3D. And
Wow.
StyleCAD's grading is really phenomenal. So I love that tool.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to learn this software then. And Ellie, what was the difference that you feel between 3D Optitex and Cloud 3D? Cloud 3D, I think
So
that's
many.
is like the better,
Yeah.
right?
I can tell you so many things. Okay, so with OptiText,
Yeah.
it's a very expensive program for one.
I know. Yeah.
To get the 3D and not only that, but then you have to continue adding modules and different abilities, and you have to pay more for different features. And with Clo3D, it's pretty much like even with the most. I think I have like the middle plan. I can't remember what the plan is called,
Yeah.
but it's pretty cool what you can do with it. You can do like building the pieces on the avatar, like you can draw lines on the avatar and you
Yeah.
can build the pieces from there.
Like
And
a
I don't do that
mirage.
all the time, but I think that's so cool that you can do that.
Yeah.
So that's
Wow.
cool. You can do that in Clo. You can render in high quality in Clo and in Optitext. We did not really have that part of the software to render
Mhm.
fully. And in Optitext, we did not have the ability to render catwalk videos, like a video animation.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
not that they can't do it, it is capable. It's
Mhm.
just it requires an additional like module you'd have to pay for.
Mhm.
Unless they've changed the pricing structure since then, I don't know. But when I was using it at the time, it was just kind of difficult to achieve a lot of those things.
Mhm.
And I was very curious. I wanted to learn how to do that. So I was so happy when I found Clo because I was like, oh, I can finally learn all these 3D aspects that I find so interesting. So
Mhm.
CLO3D, you can do animation. I mean, not only that, but aside from all the cool stuff you can do, they
Yeah.
have this great, like, basically, like, following. You can go on the internet and go on Instagram and see all the other people using CLO3D. And it kind of is like a community, right? So everybody can follow each other. They have a great resource in their help forums. You can talk to people. And I don't remember like if that was possible in Optitex. Like, did people in Optitex have a community? I'm
Mm.
not sure. Let me know if you know, or maybe
No,
if
usually they don't talk a lot. Yes, I
yeah.
think that the community of Cloud3D is like more supportive. Even I am in a group of Cloud3D on LinkedIn, and
Cool.
even sometimes we send messages like each other, like, "Oh, like you're doing amazing," or "How do you do that?" And they help you.
Yes,
Yeah,
and that right there, how do you do that? Let me help you. That
yeah,
was not really a thing when I was using Optitex. I was like, I had my blinders on. I was just focused on
mhm,
my own thing.
yeah,
And when I started using CLO3D and I found Instagram and other people doing CLO3D, I was like, wow, look at all these things people are doing. They're like out of this world. And it was just mind blowing. So I thought it was cool, and
yeah.
definitely like, I was like, wow, there's a lot of people doing this, not just a, a tiny few that I thought it was just like a tiny few. Um, Not only that, but there's a lot of people in the like 3D graphic design community that are starting to get into apparel design. And
I
I think
know.
that's pretty neat too, like to see like that kind of crossover between more like 3D artists starting to now do garments. So
I know.
like not
Yes, because
just
now
fashion
you have the
people.
NFT, you have the gamings, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the what is it, the metaverse with all that. That's something I have not like really delve into.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's cool, but like I don't have like the what is it, the 3D or the goggles, like the
Yeah.
virtual reality thing.
But well, you never know. You never know, Ellie. You are
I think it would be
very,
cool though one day. Like, could you
yeah.
imagine having a design meeting in virtual? Like, oh yeah, like I'm
Yes,
here for it.
yes. Or even like I saw like a few months ago about Disney from Vancouver. It was looking to someone who made the clothes 3D. And I was thinking, wow, imagine like move from the fashion industry to movie industry.
Oh
I don't know.
wow,
I think that it will be amazing, right? Because I think that now the
I could see that.
future of fashion is like too digital that you don't know where you can work the next year, right? Like you don't know.
Definitely. Yep.
Even you, right? Because you
Yeah.
were working in a factory and right now you are working like a freelancer pattern maker 3D.
Yeah.
So, Ellie, how do you think that Glow 3D changed your professional life? You think that they make more easy your shop like a pattern maker?
Yeah, yeah. I think it definitely helps. It's, just like any other tool, like you could just say the same thing about like I do a lot of work in Adobe Illustrator to make tech packs, and without using Adobe Illustrator, like it would just kind of be a mess for me. Like I'd have
Yes.
to
I
piece
don't
it
know
all
how they use
together.
Illustrator. Yeah. No.
It's like it's nice to have everything kind of in one place. So
Yeah, it's true. And Ellie, and how is to work with customers? Usually they understand that you do all the samples and the grading in the 3D, or you have to explain them, or usually your customer they understand very well about the 3D pattern maker.
it's a mixed bag, really. Some people are all about the 3D, and they definitely like that's all they want to focus on is getting the. Some people even want the 3D samples to be what they put on the website. So it just depends.
Yeah,
Then I have customers who they don't really care about that stuff. They
yeah,
just want me to do the tech pack and 2D designs, and
yeah.
that's fine too. Like I'm pretty flexible. I like to do the 3D to validate like the pattern. So
Mhm,
if I'm working on a pattern, and even if they don't request the 3D, I'm still doing it for me because I want to make sure it comes out good. So like even if
mhm.
they said like we just want a 2D pattern, we don't want 3D. If I'm giving them a 2D pattern, like there's a 3D somewhere. It's just
Like
you
you
know
will do it for yourself because you want to
exactly.
see the fit. Great, great. And Ellie, I have a few questions because I post a story on my Instagram, and one of the question was like, if you can change the size to the avatar.
Yes, you can definitely change the size of the avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Inside of CLO3D, they have all sorts of different kinds of sizes. They're based on ASTM standards. And so,
Mm-hmm.
they have Missy Curvy, they have Missy Straight. So, like the waist to hip ratio, they have built in sizes. I think it's like 4 through, I can't even remember, 14 maybe, I'm not sure. And then they have like tall, and then they have maternity, so they have all these presets, and they're
Mm-hmm.
very ASTM standard sizes, so they're industry style size avatars. And they have after that, when you get close to a size that you want, you can tweak it even further. You can go and do the avatar editor to change the dimensions of every, like, so many points of measurements. It's like a huge form.
I know.
I created a YouTube video really recently. You can
Oh,
actually, I walk you through the whole form of how to fill it out. You want to fill it out basically from top to bottom. And if you don't have all the information, that's okay, because basically, like, the software, like, it automatically fills in like most of the data, like, because it has all this built in, information from ASTM. So it's just awesome that it's all built into the software, so you don't have to worry so
perfect.
much.
Yes, we will leave the link of your YouTube channel, and
Great,
we
great,
can
great.
show and how accurate is to make the first sample in Cloud 3D, and if it's possible to do and show the gradings in the customer, because I used to work in a factory and you have to call like 2 3 fit models to see like the gradings, right? How possible is to do it in Cloud 3D?
Yeah, it's very accurate to do it in CLO3D. I mean, it's as accurate as the pattern maker is. So
Hmm.
it's going to be as efficient as the person who is using that software. So, the pattern isn't just going to make itself because you're using CLO3D. You have to know and understand. Make sure you're in the right units, right? Like,
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sure that everything is dialed in properly. Make sure you understand how much ease you're supposed to have in the garment. And first thing and foremost, make sure that the dimension of the avatar is what your customer's dimensions are going to be. So if you're making a garment for someone who's not a size medium, you need to make sure you know that, and change
yeah.
the size of the avatar and all that. So it's as accurate as, that you can set it up. As long as you have an understanding of, like, what the goal is, then you can make it very accurate. And
Mhm.
grading is possible in CLO3D. They just recently updated the software to allow you to copy and paste X grading values. You can, paste them flipped and all that stuff. So that helps your grading go a little bit faster.
Mm,
And I think they still have a little bit of work to go when it comes to their
mhm,
grading capabilities, but it is able to do it, thankfully. You can set up, your points of measurements, even if that's something you like to do, and you can
mhm,
see your points of measurements as they change from size to size. I like to do
mhm,
that to confirm and make sure, the grading is being done right. And then as far as review, you can review, obviously, you can review a size 6, a size 10, a size 24, and you can do like a lineup. We used to do that all the time in the factory I worked in, just to see how the sizes looked. Of course, you could do every single size, but if you have like a really wide size range, um, it could be more time consuming. So I would recommend, I'd recommend doing like three. Three is a good number, especially
yes.
take a good look at the larger sizes. Those are always the ones that you're going to have
Mhm.
the most issues with the fit. So,
Perfect. Ellie, and well, the good news about this podcast is because I want to talk about your course, the Quick Start Kit to Close 3D, because Ellie was very nicer and she invited me to be her student in her course. And so I will leave in the comments the link of the course, and we have a discount course if you want to take it. And Ellie, let me tell you that I love your course, because for sure you're a pattern maker, right? And I have a feeling that right now in the market you cannot find like courses that they are like very that they have a specialization, or they are focused to pattern makers, right? Because idea like a pattern maker is like to offer your services and show your 3D samples or the 3D gradings. And I am loving your course, I am finishing, but Ellie
yay!
explained very clear. She explained you like very clear, on point. She give you exercise. The videos, they are very short, they are like not too long, that
Right.
maybe you have to take like maybe 2 3 days to finish. And yes, Ellie, I don't know if you want to talk a little more about your course.
Yeah, the quick start guide to CLO3D is basically what it's called. It's learning the software quickly so you can get around and you can get to work as well, because I know there's a lot of people that want to learn CLO3D so that they can freelance, or so maybe they're trying to add some skills into, what they can do so they can kind of level up and maybe look for more work in the fashion industry. So it's just kind of there as a quick start guide to help you get familiarized, especially if you are transitioning from one CAD software to another. Sometimes, it's not as easy as just picking up a bike and getting on if you've already know CAD. So you really need to know like where the tools are so you can just basically get your work done. And that's kind of what I wanted on day one of using CLO3D, because I just really needed to hop off of Optitex and hop on CLO3D as soon as possible so I can get work done. And yeah, like it's hard to piece together all the information. It takes time to get familiarized and learn how to practice, because practice is what's going to make you faster. So if you want to know like what's it like inside the course, you can check out my YouTube channel because it's pretty similar. My YouTube channel ones are much shorter though, but it's kind of like almost the same kind of format in a sense, except for the YouTube channel, it's just mostly like, here's what the tool does. And then in the course, it's more like, here's an exercise for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a little more than just one tool. It's more like, one category of things that you need to know. So another thing is I do have a freebie available if you are interested in like it's a hotkey chart. So the CLO3D hotkeys, it's like a printable and you can print out all the hotkeys. It's color coordinated because
Yes, I printed. I printed. It's there.
I wanted it to look cute. So I color
Yeah.
coordinated it. So the hotkeys that are like the 2D pattern making tools are one color. The hotkeys that for the 3D are in one color. And the viewpoints are in one color. And it helps to learn these things because you're going to work so much faster in CLO if you know them. And you don't have to know all of them, but it helps to know, a little bit, or at least to know the ones that are the most important. That's really helped me a lot to be more fast in the software. But yeah, I do have the discount code. It's Denise 15 for 15% off my course. And I'm
Hey.
sure you'll pop that in there somewhere.
Yeah, thank you, Ellie. I know that they will love your course because like even like the name is like basic, but I think that is not basic because like she give you like so many resources and tool, and even like now I was thinking, hey, maybe with this course like I can start to do like all my samples and maybe start to practice with my actual clients, right? Because you give like
Yeah.
so many amazing things, and even she explained how you can export your patterns from the software that you are using or even import. Even she show you how to change the size of the avatar too. Yes, I think that is very good course, Ellie. Congrats.
Thank you so much. It's been
Yes.
such an interesting journey because this is my first course.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a learning experience for me just to learn how to create a course. I didn't use Udemy or something. I put it on my own website. And so figuring out how to do all this back end stuff was a learning experience. My husband did help a little bit.
Cute.
But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun project to collaborate with him on as well because he's not in the fashion industry. So this was something completely new to him. But so he's in the army, but he's always been interested in film. So he helped me a lot with editing my videos, and that was such a help because editing is very time consuming.
Yes.
I know you know that.
No, yes, but even I was so surprised, like how is editing all the videos that you are very clear. The videos like they are very short and they go to the point to only go and practice. And even like after your course, like I was practicing like with another patterns. Or even I remember that before I was learning with Close 3D, but I remember that I export a pattern from Optitex, and then when importing Close 3D, they appear like huge dimensions, and I was thinking, no, what happened here? And then in your course, you explained it, and it was like, oh my gosh, it was too easy. easy.
Oh my God, I'm so glad. I know I've had that happen so many times.
I
When you're
know.
dealing with multiple different types of CAD software, they sometimes don't know how to talk to each other. And that's been a
Yeah.
lot of trial and error, especially with freelancing. And you
Yeah.
have, all these different brands and they all have their different softwares. And like it teaches you a lot when you start to like run into these things over and over again. Like the only way you're going to learn to get through that is like to keep trying different things. And oh my gosh, I've tried so
Yeah.
many different ways. That's why I think I have different resources in there that you can use to like double check your patterns in different formats and things like that.
Yes. No, but thank you, Ellie, because I think that you are very generous person and like a professional too, because even in your course you are explaining and giving like too much tools to pattern makers or even like a technical fashion designer who want to specialize on CLO3D, right?
Right.
Because I had a feeling that right now, even like I think that was yesterday, I saw a post that they were looking like a pattern maker in CLO3D. So right now, like we are like moving too fast in the fashion industry, and you don't know like how many opportunities you can have. How do you decided to do the course, Ellie? And I know that it's coming like a level 2 and 3. I don't know when it's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
out the level 2. I need it.
Yes, ma'am. I am in progress on level 2 right now. Level 2 is going to be all about the graphic design elements of CLO3D. It's going to be about the animation. I love this stuff. It is the fun and juicy. Like I love marketing and creating reels with the animated like catwalk scenes. And this is all the stuff I really wanted to do when I was working in Optitex and I couldn't. So like
Yeah.
I feel like this is all the juicy stuff and I'm so excited for this course. And yeah, I do have a third one planned. I mean, it's not in the works right now, but the third one
Yeah.
will be consisting of the people who are doing like manufacturing, people who want to do grading and CLO3D, maybe even some tech pack will be included. And like not only grading, but the points of measurements and maybe just also include more of like pattern making in general. Like
Mm,
there's a lot to teach when it comes to pattern making. It's not something that you can just learn in one course. I mean,
yeah.
when I was in school and stuff, like it was more than one course there. So it's like you can't just learn it all in one sitting,
No, I
unfortunately.
know, I know.
So,
No, but even in your course that I am a student right now, I love because in one part of the course, I think that is in the end, you give like a hoodie that you can
yeah.
make from the beginning to the end, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, yes. I don't know. I will let you know like my final results, Ellie, but I am
Yeah.
very happy. And even if someone is listening to us and is a technical fashion designer or is a pattern maker, I highly recommend you to take the course of Ellie because
Thank
I
you.
have a feeling that we don't have like, I think that you are the only one in English because I never see like a pattern maker teaching Cloud 3D. So I think that you are very clear and you give like so many valuables like advices and tools that we can use like professionals. So thank you,
Yay.
Ellie.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Ellie, another question that I have, because in another companies that I was talking, like is I don't know when you recommend to add this close 3D, like some people they resist, right?
Yeah.
I had a feeling that was the same when we moved to paper from the digital softwares, right?
I
So I
know.
don't
Yeah.
know how you find it right now.
Yes, I definitely understand why some people will resist. Is another thing you have to learn, obviously,
Yeah.
and that can be very intimidating. But I mean, let me tell you, it's just so helpful because even if you don't use the 3D for marketing, it is just a helpful tool as a pattern maker to see your
Mm,
design and make sure it's on track.
mm,
Um, Even if you're not the designer as a pattern maker, it's good to review it and make sure it's, with the vision that the person who designed it had. So, like it just depends on how you want to implement it. You don't have
mm,
to even show everybody on the team. It could just be something in completely internal,
mhm,
just for yourself. Like sometimes I use it that way. And I can understand sometimes the 3D avatars are not that great looking, right?
mm,
They're getting much better and they're capable of making some really beautiful avatars, but that's not really their focus. Their focus is to make, the body avatars of the right dimensions. So that kind of part of it is not always the, most appealing. Sometimes I feel like the 3D can
mhm,
be a little off putting, you know what I mean?
mhm,
So like a lot of the times I'll take screenshots, from the neck down of the avatar so they don't see that avatar face, because there's a lot of people that go, oh, that's creepy, and I get it. Like, it's not like human. And sometimes when things look a little human, but not fully human, it's a little bit weird.
Mm,
So that's another reason why I think some people are a little bit put off by the
mm,
3D.
mm,
And if you think about it too, like now we have even a bigger like thing on the horizon, which is that AI everybody's talking about. And
mm,
so now a lot of people are resisting this AI thing. And that I understand as well, because there's benefits, but there's also a lot of like the negatives.
mm,
And it can eliminate jobs. A lot of people are worried that AI is going to replace them. And
mm,
I think these tools are supposed to be to help us, and we need to figure out how to use them to
mm,
make our work easier, make our life
mm,
easier, work smarter, not harder. And
mm.
it's just going to be another thing after that. So you can't keep resisting so many things. Eventually, if you keep resisting, you're going to be like left out of the game. So you
You
have
will
to
be
kind of
behind.
you either
Mm,
join them, or
yeah,
what is it? How does that saying go? It's like, oh, I can't remember the saying.
yeah. But Ellie, I think that for you, in your case, that you specialize on 3D, I think that they bring you like more opportunities, right? Like a pattern maker.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely help because I can market. It's easier to market the 3D than it is to market a 2D pattern.
Mm,
Like it's harder to, I mean, not that you can't, but like I feel like it's easier for that purpose.
mm,
I think in that way you can show your designs, before the garment is cut, and you can kind of start to validate the style. That's an option that you can use. Um, it definitely gives you the opportunity to work from anywhere,
it's
remotely,
true.
which is easier than having to go somewhere physically and have to be in house cutting and sewing. And I always, always, always wanted to work from home. I'm an introvert, so like I like being in my office space where it's
Yeah,
quiet and I can focus. So like yeah, this is basically just, I mean, dream come true, right?
for sure. Yeah. And Ellie, I know that in the second level, you will show like more simulation and more prints, like that you say me. You find like now the fashion brand, they are looking for you not only for the patterns, it's because they want to do like simulations, or they are looking for more the graphic part.
I think mostly it's conceptualization.
Mm.
So a lot of people look for me to see if their design idea is valid. They want to see their
Mm.
idea come to life. They want to see it from all angles.
Yeah,
And sometimes that means it's not just a t-shirt. It's something completely new that, doesn't exist.
yeah.
Especially because I am on Upwork.
Mm.
So I think a lot of people have a hard time finding someone who can create these ideas for them, because sometimes they'll go to like these what do you call them, like the completely like one-stop shop type of places that they'll take your concept from start to finish. Those
Yeah,
places usually work with real garments, like
yeah.
shirts, bottoms, whatever, jackets. But like if you have like a really kind of out of the box idea, those places don't usually work with those people, or they're going to cost a lot more. So a lot of those people that have these ideas that are very unique and
Mm.
more difficult to like get on the first try, those people like find me, and like I help them create that, because like they can find these places that will help them, but sometimes it's a little bit harder because it
Yeah.
takes a lot of different rounds of trial and error, and the 3D helps with that, eliminating the need for cutting and sewing as much,
Mm.
and eliminates the time you have to wait between the factory to iterate. Not only that, but like the factory to understand what you're trying to come up with even.
Mm.
So like just you can have a meeting one-on-one, and basically come up with an idea, and like basically fabricate that out of 3D to make sure that the idea is on the right track.
Yes. No, and even I am thinking like before we used to do like all the tech back, and maybe first you can do like the 3D and show to everyone if they like the garment, right? And then you can move to make the pattern, all the tech back very complete and everything. Great.
Yeah, sometimes it is that way. Sometimes the 3D sample does come first, and like I always recommend it's better to have a 2D concept, but
Mhm.
sometimes like if you have like something that's already existing, like say we've worked together in the past and we
Mm,
already worked on like one iteration of a project and we just want
mm,
to change the material out and I happen to have the 3D ready, it's just so much easier to go in there and change the fabric or change a thing
for
or
sure.
two. So sometimes it does work that way where the 3D pattern comes before the tech pack even. Yeah.
Perfect, Ellie. And Ellie, how did you see your future? Like the last question of my podcast. How did you see you like a professional 3D pattern maker in the future?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I'm not sure what the future of like my company, Digitech Design, holds. Like, I'm really excited to be on this journey, like with the people who are following me on this journey. Like, I started out basically as a freelance pattern maker, and just to
Mm.
have expanded to creating courses, creating YouTube channel, it's been such a fun ride, and I'm here for it. Like, I don't know what it's gonna bring, but whether that's like I don't know, like a community or just like other people who want to learn and or supporting other people who want to be freelancer or learn about apparel manufacturing. Like I'm kind of like just trying to see where the journey takes me, depending on what people who are following me want to learn more about. So
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the goal is. I'm just kind of like going on this journey and enjoying it and learning and yeah, hopefully teaching others along the way, like so that they can kind of do it too if that's what they want to do.
Yes, and being open. Yes, I hope to be your successful student, Ellie.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you, and I can't wait to see your hoodie.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Yes, like you are inspiration for me. So thank you so much, Ellie, because you come to talk a lot about all your valuable knowledge about 3D pattern makers. So thank you so much. I will leave in the comment the link of the course of Ellie, and I will leave the discount code and her website, her Instagram. So if you are looking for a 3D pattern maker, go with her, or even if you want to take her course. So thank you, Ellie, for coming to my podcast. I really enjoy it, and yes, and I hope to keep in touch in the future for sure.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. This was so much fun. I had a blast, and it was so nice to be here and to be a part of it. So thanks.
Great. Thank you so much to everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me today on Working in Fashion. I hope that you enjoy it. If you find value in today's episode, I would greatly appreciate it if you can take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast. For more information of my services or to connect with our guests, visit my website. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.